Not that long ago, G2 made some noise about winning their 21st map in a row in Katowice. Everyone was talking about it, news sites, social media, and even HLTV. And it perfectly demonstrates how strong of a team NiP were. You see, G2 only made it to second place with consecutive map winnings. Their record is 21 maps, while the Swedes 10 years ago won 87 maps in a row, 4 times the amount. Of course, we are perfectly aware that NiP started playing CSGO earlier than the other teams, and that while everyone played on a somewhat similar level, NiP were the #1 team in the world. But still, from the very release of CSGO, they never lost even a single map on LAN until April 2013. We've already made a handful of videos about the fate of some legendary rosters, and you asked us to talk about NiP. Well, you ask, we deliver. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, because you're watching CYBERSHOKE, and today we'll talk about what happened to the players on the legendary NiP roster. Fifflaren. The first player who left NiP was Fifflaren. He was kicked on November 3rd, 2014. In general, this was the start of one of the biggest problems of NiP. They had 4 wonderful players with perfect synergy, but they just couldn't find a 5th guy. Fifflaren wasn't an exception. He just didn't fit in with the team. If you look at the rating of NiP players in that time, you'll see that Robin comes in at 5th place with 0.95, while his closest teammate Friberg has a 1.09 rating. That's not just a big gap, that's an abysmal difference in performance. So obviously when Ninjas stopped winning and everyone else made an effort to fix things, but they still didn't have good results, Fifflaren was the obvious choice to be kicked, because he just couldn't play at this level individually. ESWC in Paris was the last tournament for Robin. NiP didn't even pass the group stage, and Fifflaren himself dropped 12 frags on average. The organization asked him whether he was interested in staying in NiP by taking some other role, like being a manager, but he declined the offer and left, thanking his past teammates for their great times. From then on, he became a regular guest on big tournaments as a caster and analyst, including 5 majors. Then in 2019, out of the blue, Robin accused NiP of stealing money from him, a few $1,000s to be exact. In Fifflaren's words, the players didn't get a dime of the prize money that they won at the start of CSGO esports. TOs transferred the money directly to NiP and they took all of it, promising to pay it all back when the organization solved its financial problems. But that never ended up happening. That scandal resulted in nothing. On the one hand, some players confirmed Robin's version of events, but on the other, nothing could be proved. In 2020, Fifflaren joined Dignitas as a coach and soon became their manager. He worked there for 2 years, then left in August 2022. Since then, our hero hasn't appeared in any big tournaments, but his career in esports is still active. Friberg. Fifflaren was kicked in 2014 because NiP couldn't find the right 5th player. But first, we will jump 3 years ahead of time, when the Swedes realized that their 4 famous core players weren't that strong anymore. The weakest link in their chain was Adam Friberg. In 2015, his rating dropped below 1.0 and was getting worse and worse every year. For example, Adam finished his last 6 months in NiP with a 0.87 rating. Friberg tried to come back to his previous performance level, but couldn't manage to succeed. And after 2 years of fighting an uphill battle, NiP finally told him that he was free from his contract and could start looking for a place in other teams. Adam understood NiP and left, wishing good luck to his past teammates. That was July 2017. At that time, the NA-based organization Optic was rebuilding their roster. They were the 13th best team in the world, but they were getting worse month after month. At the beginning of the year, Optic were 2nd in HLTV rankings, and by summer, they got knocked out of the top 10. Optic kept just Naf and Mixwell from the previous roster and signed the Scandinavian trio of Alu, Magisk, and our hero Friberg. The team showed some decent results and nearly got into the top 10, but during the players' break for New Year's 2018, they lost 2 important players, Mixwell and Magisk. Optic's managers weren't exactly happy about the fact that they just lost 2 players when the team nearly made it into the top 10. This situation pushed them to rebuild the team once again, and this time, Friberg wasn't invited. While waiting for offers from other teams, Adam decided to help Heroic, who needed a stand-in for ESL Pro League. After playing there for 2 weeks, Friberg got invited to be Heroic's captain. The biggest problem for Heroic was their instability. As soon as they got close to the Tier 1 level, something always happened that pushed them back. Unfortunately, Friberg wasn't able to solve this problem. With him, Heroic was a decent Tier 2 team, but couldn't reach the top 10. In August 2019, Friberg decided to leave Heroic. He thanked the organization and his past teammates for the great time and stated that he was ready for new challenges. However, he waited almost half a year for that challenge to come, when the legendary NiP roster reunited under Dignitas's wing. The guys peaked at 22 in HLTV's top, but in May 2022, the org shut down their CSGO operations. Nowadays, Friberg shows up on HLTV only in show matches or open qualifiers where he plays with mixes. Xizt. The next change awaited NiP in February 2018, when they failed at several tournaments in a row and kicked the player with the lowest rating. After spending 2 months in FaZe as a stand-in, Richard started to look for a stable team to join. At that moment, Xizt had a huge experience in IGL Ling, so he quickly found his place in another top-tier Swedish team, Fnatic. Richard played there for more than a year. They were a stable Tier 1 team, but unfortunately didn't manage to win a single big LAN. As for the majors, the Swedes made it to the playoffs just 1 out of 3 times. In August 2019, Xizt was replaced with Golden due to his poor performance. Richard's last try to hold on to a pro player career was that Dignitas roster, but he got benched after 8 months, finishing that period with a 0.79 KD. Need I say more? Xizt was chilling without a team for more than a year, so after a while the community thought that must have been it for him. But then in October 2021, he joined Heroic as an analyst and assistant coach. After 4 months, he was promoted to a head coach position. Get right. Well, it's time to talk about the legend himself, Get Right. Being one of the best players in CSGO history, Christopher is the only rifler who made it to the top 5 of the most MVP'd players. There are only snipers in that list, Cywu, Simple, etc., and only Get Right is there, equipped with a good old AK-47. Get Right's golden age was during 2012 to 2014, but in the fall of 2019, he received some sad news. He had been kicked from NiP. The org said that they offered Chris a key manager position, but he declined, wanting to continue with his professional career. There are rumors that it was Get Right who came up with the idea of the old NiP reunion, but unfortunately, after spending 8 months there, he was kicked along with Xizt. Dignitas explained that their fans weren't satisfied with the team's results, so they talked about it with the players. After that conversation, everyone agreed that Get Right and Xizt had to go. Christopher was just sitting on the bench for nearly 18 months, and it was only in January 2021 that he became an official streamer for Dignitas. After 17 months of that, he left the org in order to focus on his own Twitch career. Now he streams for 3 to 4 hours a day and plays Valorant, Warzone, League of Legends, and of course, CSGO. Forest. Patrick Forrest Lindberg is living proof that even a relatively old player, at least by esports standards, can still show some high-tier CS. He was the last member of the legendary 4 to stay in NiP, and left the org by his own decision so he could reunite with his past teammates. Patrick's rating for Dignitas was 1.08. Impressive, considering his age. He stayed with Dignitas until the very end, and then began to focus on streaming. Starting from August 2022, Forrest has been streaming for 3 to 4 hours a day. He plays CSGO, League of Legends, and Apex Legends, often queuing up with his friend, Get Right. Forrest's story after NiP is amazingly short, because while all the other players in our list got kicked at some point due to bad results, Patrick kept going until the end, always performing at a very high level, and we're sure that if he wanted to, he could easily find himself a place on some top 20 team. Hey guys, leave a comment on which team you want us to make the next video about. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, because you just watched CYBERSHOKE. Bye for now.